Hey Final Fam, so I'm talking about my top 10 most disturbing films, and I just want you to understand that this is my list of top 10 disturbing films. If you have any that I may have left off from my list, definitely leave that below and let me know which ones you would have added. Now, disturbing films are a subgenre within horror. These are the types of horror movies that essentially leave a stain on your soul. These are the type of movies that are so visceral and gut-wrenching that they pull at you and they make you feel some type of way after you've watched it. Generally, you have anxiety. Sometimes you have nightmares. You're critically thinking about your current situation or how you would have handled this situation differently within the film. And these are the type of movies they promote critical thinking. They promote you to analyze more about the film, and it's like a flight or flight type thing when you're watching it. Either you can watch it and stomach it, or you want to run in the other direction. So these type of disturbing films are actually generally they're underground type films, or they're foreign type films where they have more leniency and they can do more things with the film, because some films within the US can't push certain boundaries. They can't say certain things or do certain things within film, of course, like SA or necrophilia or something that's really off, or something that's really out there and twisted. So these types of films have the power to cause harm if you can't process them properly. So viewer discretion is advised if you're a person who is easily triggered, or you are a person that you have a past with SA or anything like that, or you were raped or anything like that, anything traumatic happened to you, then I definitely recommend that you avoid these films at all costs, because it may trigger something within you. These type of films, like I said, they may trigger anxiety, maybe a past memory or something might happen. So I don't want you to watch these films if you're easily triggered in that manner. So that's just my disclaimer for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at my top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Hostel, starring Jay Hernandez, Rick Hoffman from Suits, and lastly Eli Roth. And we know Eli from projects like Green Inferno and a bunch of other gory horror movies. Now, this movie is disturbing in itself because it's very visceral. There's a lot of jump scares, drilling, going through bone, muscle, and tissue, and it's super gory. So that's why I have it at my number 10. And basically, Hostel is about a group of friends that go overseas and they're looking for a good time. They stay in a hostel and things go south from there. I don't want to ruin this one for you if you haven't seen it. Coming in at number 9 is Dead Girl. Now, this movie I saw some years ago, and it's basically about a group of friends that go to an abandoned warehouse and they find a dead girl that's wrapped in plastic. Now, the movie has a lot of SA, it has necrophilia, it has some really crazy things in it, but the ending is satisfying. So I would say check that one out, and you'll probably need a shower or talk to a therapist after. Number 8 on my list is Antichrist, starring Willem Dafoe. Now, this movie stars a mother and father. They unfortunately lose their child, and the movie just gets worse from there. It is very jarring. It's tearful in some scenes, kind of confusing in some parts, and it has some really gruesome, horrific scenes, especially for men. And if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Antichrist is definitely on my list for disturbing. As always, if you enjoy videos like this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so this video can get out to others. Thank you so much for your support. On my list is I Spit on Your Grave. Basically, it's a revenge film about a woman that sadly got raped, and she's going after the men that did this horrific thing to her. There is satisfaction there with her hunting them down. It's a very good film. However, the scenes are very jarring and disturbing. Number 6 on my list is The Human Centipede. Now, I remember I saw this movie several years ago, and it was new to us to watch. A bunch of friends, we sat and watched it, and we had dinner, and I was just extremely grossed out. Pretty much any movie with vomit, feces, anything like that, or just the mention of it will freak me out overall. Honestly, the movie was sick. It was twisted, it was gory, it was gross, and it was super disturbing. Number 5 on my list is The Skin I Live In. This movie stars Antonio Banderas, and this movie, twisted would be the operative word for this film. It was crazy, and basically it stars a man, he's well off, wealthy, and sadly his daughter gets raped, and he decides to plot revenge against the graper. So this is what happens in the film, and honestly, it was twisted. everything comes full circle at the end, and the ending it just blows your mind. It's one of those films that's going to sit with you because you're trying to process things. There's some parts that are a little confusing, so then you sit and start to formulate the plot of the movie, and everything comes full circle, and when you find it out, it's insane. So it's going to leave you quite scarred, so definitely check that one out. Number 4 on the list is Dogtooth. Now, I saw this movie with my husband. He actually suggested it. It is a Spanish film, so you're going to have to read some captions, but this movie was disturbing, to say the least. And it was about a family. They're very they're not traditional at all, although they appear to be traditional in the film. They're very strict and hard on their children, and the dynamic with the family is just bizarre. It's sick and twisted, and it's just one of those films where you're like, why is this happening? You're like screaming at the television, why is this happening to this family? Why is this happening? And it just progressively gets worse. It's one of those types of films. Very disturbing, and it will sit with you. It will disturb you to the point where you finish watching the movie, you're obsessively thinking about the movie, and that's how bad it scars you. So Dogtooth definitely made my list for that reason. Number 3 is Speak No Evil. This is actually a Danish film, and however, it was in English, so you could watch it straight through. Now, this movie, as you're watching, it just gets worse and worse, and it's about a family. They go on vacation, they meet another couple, there's a whole lot of mess going on with the other couple, and it just gets so bad to the point where you feel so bad for these people, and you're yelling like, why is this happening to these people? Why are they so stupid? And it's bad mistakes that they make throughout the film where you're just angry. It'll leave you questioning your own thoughts. It will leave you questioning your own values. It will leave you twisted and upset and just really emotional. It's one of those films that it burrows in really deep and pulls at your heartstrings, and it also pulls at your psyche because you're trying to figure out what would you do if you were in that predicament, and it's just crazy. So I would say check that film out. Number 2 on my list is The Girl Next Door. Now, I saw this movie with my husband as well, and this movie, oh my God, this movie made me cry. Like, I don't think I've cried that much in a horror film, like for a horror film ever. And it made me cry. Like, I literally felt so bad for the character in this film, actually for the characters. Basically, the movie is about some young children. They have a friend that has a mom, and the mom is psychotic. Imagine Carrie's mom from the movie Carrie. Imagine that mom times 20. And she's not even religious or anything. She's just super twisted and psychotic and jealous and manipulative. And I honestly, the acting in this movie was so stellar that you really believe these people did this. And what's so chilling about this film, The Girl Next Door is actually based on a true story, and that's what's sick and sits with me. It's so shocking that they had something so depraved happen to one of these characters, and how people just went along with it. It was heartbreaking. There were scenes in it that you're like, how could it possibly get any worse? And it continues to get worse. And it starts off, innocent enough. And then you just start to see these little hints of, oh my gosh, something's really wrong here. And it just pulls the rug right from under you. So I would definitely say give that one a watch. These are the type of movies from this list that I'd probably only watch once. I'm not going to keep watching them again because they're so disturbing that they'll mess with my psyche. So if you're checking out The Girl Next Door, just be warned, it is disturbing. And lastly, coming in at number 1 is Martyr. Now, the reason why I put Martyr as number 1 is because I've never seen a person filleted before in a film. And I think that was the most gross and tedious and just torturous thing that I've ever seen. And I just thought that just being in that, frame of mind, like the main character being put in that position, it's just insane. Like, I don't even know where to begin with that one, honestly. And the levels to the type of torture. I think any type of movies with torture in it where it's like a slow progression or it's a long drawn out process, they disturb me because it's like, how much more can the person take? Like, how much can they endure? And how can they withstand breaking down psychologically with all of this happening to them? So I chose Martyr because Martyr is one of those films that will sit with you. It will stain your soul. It's the type of film that is so graphic in nature, and it's so gut-wrenching that you want to look away, but you can't help you know, keep looking at it. So definitely Martyr for number 1. Now that's it for my top 10 most disturbing movies. So if any of yours didn't make the list, please definitely let me know down below which ones you would have added. I would love to hear what you guys think, and also if you had any favorites from the list. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.